So, September 23rd, folks, you better wake up. Right now, there's a telltale sign. Do you remember when Christ was born, the Magi, M-A-G-I? There was 3 wise men. They saw a star come across the heaven. And at this time, King Herod was the king of Judea. And he said, you know what? When they came to him, because they knew that that was a sign that the Messiah was being born, and they told him, he said, I want you to go find this child for me. So when they went out, they looked up the skies. When they looked up in the heavens, they saw the star move, and it settled over Bethlehem. And that's why Yeshua is called a Bethlehemite, or what you call the kids of Nazareth, from Nazareth. Now, when it did this, they knew that this was the Messiah. But the Lord told them to leave that place. Don't go back to Herod and let him know anything, because this is my son. And he straightway gave them direction to go, and they went back home. Now, there's another account. When you go to the book of Jasher, chapter 8, Abraham, the same thing happened when Terah, who was his father, had a baby named Abraham. Let me read this account for you. The book of Jasher, chapter 8. And it was in that night that Abraham was born, and all the servants of Terah, and the wise men of Nimrod and his conquerors came and ate and drank in the house of Terah, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the wise men and conquerors went out from the house of Terah, they lifted up their eyes towards heaven that night, and looked to look at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east, and it ran the heavens and swallowed up 4 stars from the 4 sides of heaven. And all the wise men and the kings and his conquerors were astonished at the sight, and the sages understood this matter, and they knew its importance. So they said to each other, this only is because of the child that has been born to Terah this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess the earth, and he and his children forever, and he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their land. This was symbolic of the Lord saying that he's going to wake his children up from the 4 corners of the earth, with the 4 winds of the earth, to bring these souls back. Then he says when he raised these children that they're going to be his soldiers, his army. And so all of our ancestors are going to be resurrected, but they're going to be a great army which no man can number. And they're going to do battle against the wicked. These people know these things. And if you notice here, it says that it swallowed up 4 kings of the 4 sides of the earth, because the Lord is going to go through the whole earth and purge it. But there's signs that he gives first, just like he gave when Yeshua was born, just like he gave when Terah was born. There's going to be one on September 23rd. It's the last sign, folks. The biblical prophecy is talked about. And this is the sign of Israel being delivered. 9 months ago, before this date, there was a child in the womb of Virgo. And then exactly 9 months later, just like a woman's gestation, you understand? Now Israel is showing Israel coming out of the womb. Israel is about to be raptured. What you call rapture, we call it being taken up. We don't use the term rapture. Rapture is real if you want to break it down to English, but it's called taken up. Swing low, sweet chariot, carry us home. So the chariot's going to carry us home, and also arks. The Bible talks about ships of Tarshish, taking the people home. And then you find out, and I got a TikTok here, what a gentleman was talking about. There's thousands, he said there's hundreds and hundreds of arks underneath the ocean, and they've been activated. Folks, there's going to be something that's going to be amazing getting ready to happen. Let me show you something.
Watch how they avoid telling the truth about how only the true melanated Hebrews hold the DNA to activate these dormant starships that are hidden and buried throughout the earth. They will never admit that the true heirs of the earth and high-level technologies belong to the true original chosen ones of the Most High. These envious so-called experts claim to have knowledge, but are in fact gatekeepers who are running out of time and dread their day of judgment.
6 months or so, he's been on several missions to these arks, and he's described going in them, and that when he goes in, that only a few people can activate the technology in there, that things light up when these people move in there. And it's exactly what you were saying, that some people have the DNA, but many others don't. He was saying not that it's only a minority have the DNA, have that ability for these technologies to switch on.
Chapter 12, verse 2, and she being with child cried. And as soon as I said, she being with child, I heard in the spirit, look up child in Stellarium. And I laughed, and I said, Father, I highly doubt there's going to be anything named child in Stellarium. And I heard, just look it up. And I thought, all right, I'll look it up. But even if there is something named child, I highly doubt that it's anywhere near the woman. And I typed in child. And to my surprise, it was right there. And before I even clicked it, I said, there's no way it's going to be by the woman. And I clicked on it and bam, there it is, family. And it rocked me. This is the biggest gift from watching, from diligently seeking him that he's given me. I just got hit with the Holy Spirit. All glory to you, Father. This is amazing, family. So I went back to Rosh Hashanah, September 15th through the 17th. And as you can see right there, that's right when the child is born. As soon as the Feast of Trumpets starts, the child is coming out of the woman's stomach, family. I'll zoom in and show you. Right there, you can see. The child is still in her stomach on Rosh Hashanah. And when you go through the hours, you can see on Rosh Hashanah, the asteroid child comes out of the woman's stomach, family. And we realized that if the child is born on the Feast of Trumpets, then 9 months ago, there had to be some type of conception. So I clicked on Yeshua and I went back 9 months of pregnancy. And the Holy Spirit blew me up. Because 9 months ago, from Rosh Hashanah this year, was December 15th. Exactly 9 months of pregnancy is when the asteroid Yeshua was coming out of the woman's stomach. It's right here. Bam, bam. Yeshua came out of her stomach. And this is right when Hanukkah started, family. Imagine that. But it gets even bigger. This is stacked. This is looking like the perfect picture biblically as the rapture.
Simplicity of not sitting here forever, but 1880, it essentially what's going on is it just sits there. It doesn't move. It's over Canis Major. It's been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Really minimal movement. And it wasn't really until recently, and especially in 2022, when the real movement starts to happen. Right around when all the world stuff really started to change. It started to shift a bit. So we have minimal movement here, 2021, just kind of still in the Canis Major area. 2022, just making its movement. But you'll see when we get to 2023 is really when the action
Right here, as you can see, it hits all the stars on Orion, and it loosens the bands of Orion right here.
And that's in Job 38, verse 31. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion?
So we're going to go ahead and do that again. So we're going to go from basically around August.
Go 8/11. Just go from 8/11.
Sure, we can do that. So it does nothing its whole life, and then for this moment, it flies through Leo and rips through Virgo, and then here, it continues down. But let's just show everybody one more time because it does a bit of a fish hook, and after it does that J movement through Virgo, right on Feast of Trumpets, or right slightly after it or whatever, it goes into the middle of nowhere and then camps out over here and stays here forever. See, I'm fast forwarding the years. We're in 2100, 2200, etc. It just camps out in the middle of nowhere. So the only purpose of this asteroid is to fly through Virgo during this Feast of Trumpets.
This year.
That's amazing.
Not even moving for another 400 or 500 years.
It just camps out in the middle of nowhere. So the only purpose of this asteroid is to fly through Virgo during this Feast of Trumpets.
This year.
That's amazing.
Not even moving for another 400 or 500 years.
You know, I wonder, if I go that fast, I wonder if that moves right at the end of the
Those of us who know that it cannot move after 1,000 years. Why? Because we know that the heavens are going to be made brand new again. And we know that the earth is going to be made new again. It tells us this in Revelation chapter 21. There's a new kingdom coming. And that new kingdom is coming from heaven. And that new kingdom, there's 12 gates. And there's 12 gates, there's 12 angels in front of them. And if you look above their heads, are the 12 tribes of Israel. Folks, Israel, the 12 tribes, the so-called Negroes, are about to be delivered. Not only just them, but I believe their handmaids and servants also, those people who will cleave to them.
Christ comes down to the earth and gathers up his saints, the body of and takes them back up to his throne, and then sits back down on his throne. And he sits on his throne forever.
Just wake up. The Lord is getting ready to come back real soon. He's getting ready to gather his bride. This is the time of the Grand Awakening.